This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you the second part of an exclusive interview with Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra on the Election Commission of India and the democratic process. The interviewer is AIR correspondent Anand Chaturvedi.
We all take pride in India being the largest democracy in the world, and the first step to ensure a true democracy is holding free and fair elections. Election Commission of India is the independent constitutional body which is entrusted with the job of conducting such elections in the country. Today we are joined by Chief Election Commissioner Sri Sushil Chandra, who is the 24th CEC of the country. Mr. Chandra will help us get a deep insight into the tough task of conducting elections in a diverse country like ours. We will delve into the challenges faced and the roadmap ahead. So, talking about the challenges, are you concerned about the rising trend of money influencing the politics? What measures are being taken to curb the use of money power that violates the electoral process?
Money power and criminalization of politics, they are very two important areas. And regarding money power also, we are very concerned about that. Therefore, in every election, we put expenditure observers. And they are from the different services. Generally, they are from the Indian Revenue Service, Indian Audit Account Service. So, they are also appointed. They go to the assembly constituencies. And during this election, we have also put special expenditure observers. And if there is any distribution of money, even the money is being carried out for election purposes, that is immediately caught. And we have got a very important technical tool that is called the C-Vigil. That is another technologically improved thing in which each and every citizen of this country can participate for any violation. During these elections also, we see something around more than 1,000 crore of cash and liquor, narcotics and the freebies which could have been distributed and utilized for the election purposes. So which is almost 4.5 times higher than the earlier election 2016. So we are absolutely concerned, and each and every rally of a candidate is videographed. And that expenditure which has been incurred into that is counted, so that he should not cross the limit which has been prescribed by the RP Act to him for that particular purpose. So we are keeping a continuous watch on the expenditure which has been incurred by the candidate, and this will be our endeavour to see that the money power should not influence the voter at all. It should be absolutely inducement-free election.
Sir, every challenge brings an opportunity. COVID-19 pandemic is no exception to that. Can you share some light on what actually went behind the scenes in conducting the recent elections in the assembly states?
Pandemic has really put us in a big challenge. Generally, we feel that sometimes some person can feel this is a pandemic, we should defer the elections. But Election Commission has chosen that the problem has come. So we should rise to that opportunity and we should use it. And all the due elections were duly conducted. But we have to take a lot of measures for that. And we started with number one, that the polling stations which were used for 1,500 persons, we reduced the number of persons at the polling stations to 1,000. So by that we had to increase a lot of polling stations. In these 5 states alone, we had to increase around 80,000 new polling stations so that a safe distancing can be made. We made arrangements for thermal scanning. We made arrangement for the gloves, for the sanitizer, for all the possible things which can be utilized for that COVID repellent, like sanitization of the polling booths before the polling starts, a day before. We put a nodal officer of health to each and every polling station, so that if there is anything which is going wrong, and nodal officer will have to certify that your polling booth is absolutely safe to conduct the election. And for the COVID patient, 1 hour extra was given so that they can come and cast their vote, and PPE kit was also provided to our staff members also. And our staff members were given as a frontline workers, actually they were now declared by the Health Ministry and our insistence, and they were put vaccination also. During the rallies also, we had cut down. So we had reduced the number of persons to attend the rallies. We stopped the victory rallies altogether. We increased the timing of the silence period. Before the voting it is 48 hours, we increased to 72 hours. So all possible measures were taken so that it should be a safe election. And the polling percentage of 82% turnout is itself indicates that the voters were having a full confidence. And I am thankful to the voters and the 13 lakh staff who are involved into this, including the BLOs and the different persons who had come forward and they cast their vote. And I would appreciate each and every voter who has participated in this festival of the democracy.
Sir, reports in a section of media conveyed a message that Election Commission is supervising the Panchayat elections of the Uttar Pradesh. What is the constitutional position about the role of ECI in such Panchayat elections?
I would like to clarify. ECI conducts only the elections of the assemblies and the parliament, the president, the vice president. ECI has got no role in the elections of the Panchayat and the local bodies. So these panchayats and local bodies are conducted separately by the state election commissioners, who are nothing to do with ECI. They are a separate constitutional authority. So any feeling by any person, including voter or general public, that the local elections are also being conducted by the ECI is absolutely misleading.
So, very pertinent question. The role of the social media during election time and in campaigns as well by the political parties has been questioned in various quarters now. How is Election Commission looking at ways and means to ensure fair play in the scenario of this rising social media?
Social media is definitely a very important medium of communication because it instantly gives the messages, and we require that every candidate should give us his social media account, and each and every post and the advertisement which goes to the social media by the candidate is absolutely certified by the Media Monitoring and Media Certification Committee, that is called the MCMC committee, in which an officer of the Indian Information Service is also put into various places. So that particular thing we regularly monitor, and the social media also posts that this advertisement has been certified by the MCC. Besides that, the Commission took a very important initiative in 2019, and we had a meeting with the IAMAI, who is an association who deals with all these social media, and we entered into a voluntary code of ethics that if there is any objectionable post in any of the social media, they will remove it. I am telling you very clearly that in 2019, something around 900 posts were removed by these social media platforms because they were objectionable. And so we are interacting with them continuously that the hate speech should not be there. It should be absolutely, educating type of a person, and they have educated also to our voters. They have taken that undertaking also during voluntary code of ethics. So under the voluntary code of ethics, they have done that particular job, that it should not be utilized for anything other than the proper education system and the proper advertisement.
So another major concern regarding the election process is the paid news. What efforts have taken by the Election Commission to curb the role of paid news? How do you define it actually? How far has it been successful to control it? And earlier, the Election Commission had devised a system of information observers to monitor it. Any plans to expand it further on a larger scale?
So far, actually, that the paid news is not an electoral offence. So we have given a series of forms which are required to the Law Ministry. And this is also one of the important recommendations of the ECI, that the paid news should be treated as an electoral offence and the person should be taken to the task for that. But at present, our general observers are looking after this job, and if there is any paid news that is taken as an expenditure to the candidate, that you have paid the money to the media in which it has been printed, so this will be taken into account, and we will inform to the press council also that this is an unethical practice which is being followed. So we are quite serious about the paid news, and we want that it should be treated as an electoral offence. So this is one of our recommendations on the reforms and before the Law Ministry, and we are pursuing that how many reforms can be converted into the legal statute properly.
What steps the Election Commission has taken to ensure the neutrality and impartiality of the election observers, and also the measures to ensure the safety and security of the election officials?
Neutrality and impartiality is a must actually for any election process. And for that, we have devised a system of observers. That observers come from a different state. They are not from that state in the elections is being conducted. Neither they are from that cadre, and neither they belong to that particular state. So they are being called from a different place. They are there to supervise the elections. They are there to handhold the local officials also, because they are senior officers. And during these 5 states, if you see that, we have put more than 1,000 observers, in which there are around 500 IS officers from different states, some police officers from the IPS, and some IRS officers to expenditure control. And as they are from the different states, they don't know what is going to happen into that. So they put the Election Commission's guideline strictly in a very, very impartial manner. And neutrality, they observe that it should be done in an impartial manner, then absolutely in a neutral manner, so that no favoritism is done to any X or Y. And we ensure that these election observers conduct absolutely right, and we have also put special observers above the election observers also. They are retired senior officers from these CS services, and they also oversee that if there is any problem anywhere, and these officers are accessible to all the candidates and the public. Their phone numbers are displayed. So if there is any person who feels there is any violation or the partiality is there, they can inform to these persons and they take immediate measures for that. So through our observers and special observers, we absolutely maintain a neutrality and impartiality to the electoral process. And we also take a full safety of these officers, that there should not be any problem. Like during COVID, they were fully inoculated as far as safety is concerned, because they are in different states. they are being provided proper safety so that nobody can do anything to these officers.
Another very pertinent question, sir, that electoral reforms have been an ongoing process, and we have seen how a series of new initiatives have been undertaken by the ECI. For the benefit of our listeners, it will be great if you can share what is the roadmap ahead for the Election Commission of India in terms of reforms.
Reforms is a very continuous process. And right from very beginning, many times the reforms committees have been formed. The Law Commission has also given its recommendations, and on that basis we have sent our recommendation to the Law Ministry. And from these reforms only you can find that the senior citizens have been entitled for a postal ballot system. We have increased the limits also of the expenditure through this. The expenditure will have to be increased. The immediate concern is for regarding certain reforms which I am trying to pursue, the Commission is trying to pursue with the Law Ministry, is that number one, I will say that the voters, when he becomes in age of 18 years on 1st of January, he is entitled to be enrolled in the summary revision, of which we done every year. But if he is completing 18 years on 2nd January or 13 years, then he will have to wait for 1 year. The next year his name will come to the electoral roll. So we have given our recommendations and we are pursuing with the Law Ministry, and I have also written to the Minister Law that they should be expedited so that at least 4 days should be there, like 1st of April, 1st of July, 1st of October. And these the person, whenever he completes the 18 years in 1 quarter, should be enrolled as a voter. So that he will be enrolled, the youngsters will be in a better position to participate in the electoral process anywhere. Another one is the recommendation which is very important, which we are following, is that the linking of Aadhaar with our voter list, so that the epic can be linked with the Aadhaar. So if there is any duplicate voter's name has been put into 2 places, that the 1 place can be eliminated. And if a person is transferred from 1 place to another, then it can automatically be shifted to that particular place. So that will facilitate for a person for getting only 1 epic card, so that better purification of the electoral roll will come out. That also we are following it. And another thing is that if a false affidavit is given by the candidate, then the punishment is only for 6 months imprisonment for that particular thing. We want that it should be increased. If the affidavit is false by a candidate, and on that basis of information the voter is making the choice, and if it is absolutely false, then the punishment should be more than 6 months, so that the person can be disqualified from the electoral process. And there are many other series of the reforms, and we are having a regular interaction with our Law Ministry, and I am very hopeful that they are very also considerate to bring out the reforms very soon.
So the global outreach of Election Commission has been manifested in its International Election Visitors Program. What role has it played in strengthening the international cooperation?
India is the largest democracy in the world. So once we are conducting the elections, we invite persons from different countries. They watch our process. And similarly, when they conduct the elections, they also call us also, and we also watch their process, so that the whole world can understand that how impartial, how neutral, and how inclusive these elections are. And that, gives us the sharing platform for the best practices in the world as to which practices are being followed by India and practices are followed by the world. And India is also chairing the ABAP, which is the Association of World Election Bodies, and India's chair at that moment. So we want to invite the persons from different countries, and that strengthens our ties with the different countries on the democracy front.
So last but not the least, in about a year, elections are going to be held in around 10 states, particularly 5 very recently. How is the Election Commission gearing up for another round of mega exercise, especially in view of the COVID surge as well?
I think that COVID is receding now, and I wish that it should be over very soon. And we have started working also into that direction, that 5 states are there. And we will be conducting the elections in time as such, because in these 5 states and in Bihar, we have conducted election during pandemic. And I am very sure that the pandemic will go out in a very short time, as we are finding very less numbers. And the Commission is continuously watching as to how this comes out. But we will definitely work out and our strategies as to how the elections are to be conducted. And we will be conducting the elections in time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your candid thoughts.
It has been a pleasure indeed. Thank you.
You were listening to the second part of an exclusive interview with Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra on the Election Commission of India and the democratic process. The interviewer was AIR correspondent Anand Chaturvedi. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. Both parts of the interview are also available on our website, newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.